Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 8th edition of the European Film Festival. I am here with the screenwriter and lead actor of Uje Run, or otherwise known as Uje Run, who is a musician, actor, screenwriter, radio host, and essentially a Renaissance man of sorts from Stockholm. Firstly, Uje, thank you for joining me. And firstly, congratulations on the film. I know that it has won a couple of awards in Sweden and has had success across Europe. So firstly, obviously the film is autobiographical and has to deal with your condition that you live with, your chronic condition of Parkinson's. How was the process of writing the film, firstly, coming from a different background and a non-film background? And then number two, how was it reliving those moments and putting that down on paper?
Well, it's been quite a long process, actually. The first thing that happened in this process was that I put out a record in 2015. It was called Run, Uje Run, or in Swedish, Spring, Uje, Spring. And it was 10 songs about midlife crisis, you would say, and my family life and children and all that stuff that you think about when you're in your 40s. And then when I was supposed to put that record out and maybe tour a bit in Sweden, I thought, no, I don't want to tour. I'm too old for this shit. So I told my my record company owner that I would like to do a play at a theater with a sitting audience. And she thought it was a good idea, and I started to write a play. And during that work, I got to know that I had Parkinson's disease. And then I was, of course, devastated and cried a lot and all that. But after a while, after some weeks maybe, I thought, if I'm going to do this state thing, this theater thing, this is the time. Not in 5 years, but this is the time. And then I rewrote the script, and it was about a guy who is putting up a show and gets to know that he has Parkinson. It turned out to be a sort of self-biographical play or show or monologue, because I was the only one at stage. And then I did this scene version of Spring, Uje, Spring, and it was a complete success. Everybody wanted to see it, and I was suddenly a celebrity. And then I got this opportunity to make a movie out of the play. So I contacted the director, Henrik Schyffert, who is a famous comedian in Sweden. And I knew he would do this right, so to speak. And he was really excited about the project, and so we made the film. That was the history of how the film came about. And your second question was what it's like to do a movie about your life, to be self-biographical. Was it hard or was it easy? And I would say it was quite easy. I wrote the script, and it's all made up, but it's based on my life. So maybe a few scenes in the film has really happened. The rest is things that has been in my head, or sometimes it's we are staging some feelings that I maybe had but never acted on. But in the film, you can't have a voiceover telling what I think. So we made scenes about that. So it's semi self-biographical, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on that because obviously the film has a very interesting tone and language and style to it that is quite quirky, but quite dark, but also quite interesting in terms of its commentary, even of Sweden. I really enjoyed the scenes where where you are with your daughter at kindergarten doing the various activities, whether it's dancing and fencing, and you're dealing with the same questions. And it's kind of an interesting commentary on Sweden and maybe Scandinavia at a whole, because that region is known to be quite progressive, but actually some of the very basic questions that you're dealing with, such as where do you live, and are you renting, and what area do you live in? Oh, it's very mixed. Was that intentional to do a kind of a commentary on Sweden like that?
Yes, it was, and I would say the film is much more political than the play was.
Mm.
We I mean, it was an open goal. We couldn't resist making those remarks, and also these scenes that you refer to, they are the most true scenes in the whole film. That has happened so many times.
I can only imagine, and also I can imagine the frustration that you eventually get to, especially in I believe it's the fencing scene with the father who has a very demure reaction to your extreme reaction. Did that actually happen in real life as well? If we can digress for a little bit.
I'm probably a bit too polite. I wouldn't give away so much anger, but. Well, I felt anger, but I don't think I showed it so public.
Mm, mm. I also really enjoyed a lot of the almost daydream-like sequences, especially the scene that really spoke to me was the one at night where he walks to the piano and he imagines playing the keys and he's singing out to the windows. What was that? Were those scenes written into the script and then or collaborated with the director? And that felt very, very almost. It almost felt like it was filling the space of the dramatics that you could have in a theater play. What was your thinking about including some of those scenes?
Well, first I have to tell you that I had a great operation. We co-worked, me and the director, on this script, and he put a lot of his ideas in the movie as well. That scene was completely his idea, and we didn't know how we would do it because we had quite a small budget. Well, it's not an amateur movie, but it's like we had the lowest amount of money you can have to make a movie in Sweden, and so we couldn't afford to have some special effects. So instead, we tied fishing lines, fishing thread. What do you call it? Well, at the and we put it into the piano, and then we were quite two people who played the piano with fishing devices, and so it was solved in the most economic way, to speak.
So, as you mentioned, the film is obviously an adaptation of a stage play, and obviously, as you said, that it's changed a little bit. But how did you find the process of adaptation from a stage and theater production to obviously a film?
It was very easy because we didn't care about the stage play. I mean, some of the stage play, some of the scenes in the film are from the stage play, but most of the scenes in the film aren't, because we thought we are going to make a great movie, and if we're going to make a great movie, we have to think what's best for movie, not for theater, because it's two different things. And the good thing was that I was in the process, both with the stage play and the film. So I could say, skip that, not that, in a way that you couldn't have done if I were doing a film about another person's life. Then you have to be careful and listen with that person. What do you want to say, and what do you? But I was in the process all the way. I even played the main character, so nothing in the film could offend me, so to speak. which is often the case when you make films about people. They often say, "Oh, that's not true," or "That was exaggerated," or "That was told wrongly." That couldn't happen, because if that happened, it was my fault.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Something that audiences may not know is that your family is actually, if I'm correct, is played by your family in real life, right? Therese is your wife, Vega, and as well are your children. What was that like for you? And then I've got maybe one more question before we wrap. But how was it firstly working with them, and how was the process of them sort of reliving, obviously you coming up with your condition? How was that process for them?
We had great fun. We recorded this movie in 6 weeks, and it was great fun. Well, it was hard also. You have to learn the lines. You have to take. I mean, some of the scenes are like 20 takes, and that was not a thing that I had really thought about, but it was quite demanding being an actor. So I've always dreamt of being an actor. I since I was a little kid. I would say I don't do that anymore.
Okay.
Because it's hard work, and I'm quite lazy. But it was fun to make a movie with my family. It was.
And one last question before we wrap. One of the things that obviously has quite a significant role and change in your character's life is obviously the mapping, and when he decides to try many things. Taking it back into reality, did you do mapping? And question is, was acting in screen and stage, being a playwright, in your mapping?
Making a movie was definitely in my I don't know in English mapping. I mean, in Sweden we call a thing that you can put paper in, like this.
A file folder.
Yeah, in Sweden it's called a map. And that's where we came up with this word mapping, because you use this map. So that's why it's called mapping, but it makes no sense, because mapping is English, and the word doesn't exist in English. So, well, but in Sweden everybody understands what I mean with mapping. And yes, the film was one thing. Maybe I got some other things, but I would say I'm so lucky in life that I can live. I can make a living out of my art. I do music, and now I do films, it seems. So I've been lucky in my life. So I don't have a very long bucket list. I don't know.
Okay, and then one last thing before we wrap. What can we expect from you in the future? Is there any more desire to do more films? Will you just continue with music? What are your plans? Right
now, I've spent all the summer writing new songs, because that's where I begin always.
Mm-hmm.
If it's going to be another movie, it has to start with songs.
Mm-hmm.
I do songs, so that's my main thing. So I wrote a lot of songs, and when I do them, I think, oh, this could be a nice song to sing at the stage, or put in a movie. But right now it's songwriting. Yeah.
Okay, great. So thank you very much for joining me, and thank you for participating. And also, one last thing, thank you for sharing your film and your life with the audience members. Uje Brandelius, and my name is Mitchell Harper, and this is the 8th edition of the European Film Festival.
Thank you.